Good evening. I have the clerk please call the roll.
Supervisor Fountain?
Here.
Treasurer Horning?
Here.
Clerk Chopu? Here. Trustee Collier?
Here.
Trustee Germain?
Here.
Trustee Harper?
Here.
Trustee Petrucci?
Here. Thank you. Item number 4 is approval of our meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Petrucci. Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Call to the public this evening. If you'd like to come over to the podium, please.
Frank Krause, everybody knows me at this point. Here to kind of amplify a little bit on a letter from the Hartland Business Association.
Thank you.
As I said recently, I sent a letter representing the Hartland Business Association to this group. And I thought I'd just provide a few thoughts about the Hartland Business Association and our view of Hartland. The basic premise is that those of you who serve Hartland do it for very good reasons and with very good intentions. But with most things, they can be improved. With most trends, they can be reversed. We've seen that over the 2 years at the national level in this country. Trends that said we couldn't have manufacturing and it's leaving the country. It's a dead industry, and it's back. So there are opportunities to hopefully help. And the impression we have is that the township board, really truly does want Hartland to be a terrific place, a friendly place both for business and for family. So if we share that common belief, there ought to be a way that we could work together to bring that about. Certainly, Bill Fountain did an excellent job last night promoting this. So that's kind of where we are. But the thing that the Hartland Business Association would like the township board to do is to take stock of its of where it is, of its own surveys. Its own surveys presented. I've summed up with just simply one of the pages, many pages from the survey, but this is the regulatory climate in Hartland. Everybody can see it. The lower right-hand quadrant are the things that are important. And the upper right, top half is how well it's being performed in Hartland. So this is like a report card. And it shows a dismal picture in terms of, is Hartland a business-friendly place? It does not produce positive result. And then I think they take stock of the shopping centers in Hartland. The Walmart Center basically went through bankruptcy. It was the only full-size Walmart in Michigan closed. And they couldn't get out of Hartland quick enough once they had made their decision to leave. Ramco is appealing to the township to change the use of a significant portion of their shopping center to not do commercial retail development in Hartland. So there's a major portion of things in Hartland that is not going well for commercial use, for business use. We lost Menards. Menards tried, some of you didn't know it, but they tried coming to Hartland over an 8 to 10 year period. They tried to come on our property, they couldn't fit it on our property because of the topography. The back of the store would have been underground. Some of you may not know, but Kroger is in a failure to commit, staying in Hartland. If we play our cards right, we could have no shopping centers in Hartland. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying it's a precarious situation, and I think it's a, how do I put it, a cop-out to say that the Hartland Township government isn't a contributing factor to that. Just throw that out on the table. In many of these situations, there's a common theme that Hartland believes it can tell that company how to do business. And that making decisions for a company that are decisions that probably ought to be made by that company if it wants to succeed as a company. And we could debate that, but that's not my purpose tonight. It's to lay it out that it's certainly an open question in terms of what might be required in order to have Hartland be a business-friendly community. I think it's hiding in plain sight here that there's a problem from a point of view of the business. If you operate a business in Hartland, that you see it immediately in terms of much more so than it used to be, the government being the thing that prevents you from doing what you need to do if you want your business to succeed. So that's the reason why the Hartland Business Association was formed.
To criticize the township.
No.
Let's not get into a big debate,
Yeah, well,
please.
he's clueless.
The response is kind of like that, Bill. The response is that you're not serious about that, are you? One major member of the township officialdom actually took his business away from a Hartland business because that person was affiliated with the Hartland Business Association.
That's a private organization with only invitations.
Mr. Kraus, we
Correct?
usually have about a 3-minute, and we're going on 5 minutes. All right.
Okay.
The township has a parent. That's not necessarily, when we keep keeping the door open, rejected the opportunity to work collaboratively. But collaboration means you're collaborating on something. In this case, it means defining a problem and working together to help solve that problem. And the issue to me is, do you really believe it's as simple as declaring that you're business friendly in order to actually be business friendly? Instead, it takes some steps in order to, and it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind that says, why do we have a regulation? Is the regulation something that's required? What's the effect of that regulation on business? It's being looked at the national level. And it ought to be looked at the local level in Hartland if the township wants to have a business community that's strong and vibrant. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else this evening that call to the public?
Name is Tom Hersham, Hartland resident, member of the Business Association. The Business Association is not a single-minded driven entity. It has many members now. It's getting more. And we all have either seen, we care about Hartland, number one, or we wouldn't be here. We could be home watching TV, just like you guys. We've seen and heard and dealt with different things dealing with government, and not necessarily all at the Hartland Township level, but on up and down the ladder, but the effect is cumulative. Starting a business in today's climate is hard. Running a business in today's climate is hard. And lately I've been going through our ordinance page by page. We've got a ton of subjectivity in there, we've got a ton of complexity in there, and when you weigh it all out as to what benefit do you have to society or the township for having this particular rule, for a lot of them it's not clear that there's any benefit. And so, particularly architectural standards, our architectural standards were basically set 20 years ago. They've locked into stone architectural styling that is out of date now. So when we followed the architectural standards, we're building buildings that look like the abandoned buildings in Flint and Lansing because they're out of style and they're out of date. And I certainly understand the reason we have architectural standards and there are standards of any kind. But it's probably time to revisit those look at the areas that are thriving, they have a diversity of architecture and a high amount of optical interest. And we don't have that. We have big open fields between buildings and berms, and lots of brick. And that's not something that is, it's a lot of hard surfaces. People aren't attracted to it. And it doesn't have a lot of interest. And even though it may fit, it looks nice, or it's simple to keep clean, it's not doing its job to promote the business and promote the area and to draw people in. So I think you're all other than that, you do a fantastic job, and you know, embarrass us in the newspaper. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else this evening? I call the public. Yes. Good evening.
Hi. I'll be very brief. I made a couple of comments to a couple of trustees at another occasion, and I just wanted to be on public record as a resident of this township and living along Hartland Road, how very much I appreciate that sidewalk pathway. I think it is a tremendous thing to have this connecting from the town square really all the way down to the library. I know there's this little tiny bit that'll probably be completed in the near future, but I think it was, I just am so thankful. Number one, it is going to make it so much safer for residents. I'm delighted as a condo owner.
The 1980 planning book, and that sidewalk was part of the plan back in 1980. So just took us a few years to get there. Yeah. Anybody else this evening to call the public? Being none, we'll move on to the item number 6, which is approval of our consent agenda.
So moved. Support.
Motion by trustee Harper, second by trustee Kalani. Any discussion?
I have one quick question about item G, which is to approve the Hartland Schools agreement for sidewalk winter maintenance. Is it,
But we either remove it from there or take, or keep it on there. So do you want it on the agenda? You need to remove it from the consent agenda.
to discuss it?
Yeah.
Want to remove it?
Please.
And we'll move that to 8B. Is that okay?
That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay. Any other discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 7 this evening is a public hearing. This is a resolution to establish a PACE district. Good evening. Welcome. James, you want to briefly explain this, and then we'll open it up to the public.
Yes, this was on the ship. This is property assessed clean energy. It allows commercial, industrial property owners to do clean energy and energy efficiency improvements on their properties, and financed in a way through special assessment that's favorable to the property owner, and the township is protected. And those investments have an ROI that the savings pay for that as well. We have one property owner at this point interested in doing that, and this really opens the opportunity for other eligible property owners who might have eligible projects in the future to bring that forth to the board. Establishing the district doesn't commit the township to a PACE project anywhere. It just opens up the possibility of that, just like establishing a commercial rehabilitation district or a tax abatement district. Future applicants would come, the board would weigh the merits of the project and the security, the risk for the township, and then you would approve those projects on a case-by-case basis. This time it's to hear a public hearing, and anybody who might have questions or concerns about the PACE district before you enact a resolution to establish a district.
Okay. Any comments from the board before we open the public hearing? Being none, we have an open meeting for the PACE program. Any comments from the public?
Should we make a motion?
I have a question.
I'll move to open the public
Okay.
hearing.
Support. I have a motion and a support.
Support.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Yes, Mr. Parshall, could you please come up to the podium so the folks at home can hear your question? And if you gentlemen want to come up, these are,
It is.
yeah, hang on one second, Tom. These are the gentlemen from the, that will be able to perhaps answer your questions. Go ahead.
Will the township be incurring administrative costs in the collections and operations of this program?
No. So the way that the program is structured is that our entity will be administering the program, and whereas in some other states that have PACE, the special assessment is collected through the local entity. In this program, it's a direct pay from the property owner to the lender.
Thank you. Other questions? Being none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Support?
Motion by trustee Harper, second by trustee Germain. Any other questions or discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for the, if there's no questions or comments, I'm going to entertain a motion for the resolution.
I'll move the resolution approving the establishment of a property assessed clean energy program.
Support.
Motion by trustee Harper, second by clerk Shofu. Any other questions or comments? Being none, I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Clerk Schofield, yes. Treasurer Horning,
Yes.
Trustee Harper,
Yes.
Trustee Petrucci,
Yes.
Trustee Collier,
Yes.
Supervisor Fountain,
Yes.
Trustee Germain.
Yes.
Thank you. Gentlemen, thanks for coming tonight. You can stick around if you'd like. Okay, item number 8A is Motor City Mountain Biking Association Agreement. Mr. West.
Thank you. Good evening. The proposal you have presented for you this evening was the for phase 2 and 3 of the Motor City Mountain Biking Association's trail enhancements to Settlers Park. As you know, they completed phase 1 recently within the last 6 months, and to an overwhelming response, they have gained support from the national region of the Motor City, or of the Mountain Biking Association. And what they are looking to do is expand the trail to collectively come up with approximately 6 miles of trails. Studies have shown that once a trail hits the 6 mile in length mark, that it becomes a destination trail where people will actually drive to this park to ride this specific trail. As it stands right now, we're approximately 2.12 miles with phase 1. And while it is getting use, the overwhelming response is when and if future phases are coming. I did sit down with the Park Site Plan Committee. They did recommend and support this project, contingent upon the Motor City Mountain Bike Group understanding that if ever a future park amenity does come along that may impact the pathway, that the pathway would simply be revised. They are in complete agreement and totally understand and support the park. This is no cost to the township from a maintenance perspective, nor a construction perspective. And essentially all we would do is carry out the memo of agreement for phase 2 and phase 3 construction. If approved this evening, the group would like to get started as soon as the foliage falls off the trees.
Questions from the board? Yes, sir.
I noticed that they also carry the liability insurance for the overall project, correct?
They do just for the construction portion of
Just
it.
for the construction?
Yeah.
Because it does say in here use as well.
My understanding, and I will find out that correct, but my understanding was that the insurance was required during the construction aspect until it's open to the public. But I will clarify that.
Yeah, it says that it shall furnish a copy of liability insurance, naming the township as an additional insured before using the park for any purpose. Such liability insurance will also be required of any subcontractors hired. But then it goes on subsection 9, or paragraph 9, that agrees to indemnify, and that goes on from the project or its use of the park. So just want to make sure we're clarified and we know what that's, how that's operating. I mean, do we have any exposure here?
It would be a part of the park policy we have through MMRMA. They're well aware of this project. They don't have a concern that needs some sort of special ride or a premium adjustment. It was not our intent that they provide the insurance for the use of it. That may need to be clarified.
Very good.
Well, on that same topic, like Hyatt plays football on the field, so that's all covered under this umbrella?
So when they have organized activities out there, they have their own insurance, but, you know, we would also, and part of our agreement includes similar language for indemnification. If they don't have, if people are playing pickup football, that's a different thing. So if I don't know if Motor City Mountain Bike Association were to do an organized ride of some sort, I imagine
Well, there's a lot of governmental immunity as well here,
sure,
because it's not a building, technically a building, so.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. West. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve. Get the motion here. Just a second. Print out. That's what I want. I'll move to approve the memorandum of agreement with Motor City Mountain Biking Association for the proposed second and third phases of the mountain bike trail in Settlers Park.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Kalani, second by Trustee Germain. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Item number 8B, Mr. Germain wanted to talk about the sidewalk from our consent agenda.
Yeah, I was just asking for a clarification on what the schools are asking us to do in exchange for a reduction in price.
Yeah, very briefly here, essentially this agreement came about upon the township's completion of the pathway on the west side of Hartland Road, just north of Dunham, in front of Settlers, or in front of Springer Field. When that pathway was put in, there was an agreement developed between the schools where they would perform the winter maintenance since they were doing the east side of the school property, the east pathway. Subsequently, they've requested, and they did request this last year, however, they didn't need it, that in the event that they need to add a bus stop on the east end of town, they would like to use the entrance to Heritage Park, and simply that the township would be responsible for clearing the first 50 feet of the entrance just so parents could pull in there to drop off the kids. It is not to plow the whole park or anything of that nature. In exchange for the township performing those services for the school, they would deduct $1,000 from this invoice, or from the annual payment.
And the potential for that need is that a number of school of choice kids come from the east, and that's just more traffic that clogs the school campus. They see the potential benefit of adding a stop there where they could be dropped off and bussed in from there. So that was.
And the township is already paying to remove the snow in the parking lot where a lot of the underclassmen park?
That is performed by in-house staff, and we do that more or less as we're passing by. It is not a priority at Springer Field. We tackle that task cooperatively with the Livingston County Drain Commission because they do have a sewer pump station there as well that needs to sustain access. But again, it's not something that we pay overtime for. We get to it when we can as we're passing through. So it's done all with in-house staff.
Kids park there at their own risk of being snowed in.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the sidewalk in question is the one that supposedly the Hero attendees are using, right?
That would be correct, yes.
Okay, so it's important to keep it plowed.
Yes, and it's actually the agreement dollar amount is substantially cheaper than what it would cost us to contract out these services. The schools understand the benefit of having that sidewalk, and we've collectively worked on a few projects like that. They see the benefit as well, so they're basically giving it to us at their cost.
And then, I'm sorry for so many questions, but the last one was, where's the extent of the school's responsibility? Are they also doing the sidewalk in front of the fire station and the teen center also?
What they do is essentially, that is a responsibility of the township, because that is township-owned property. We essentially contract them to, as they come down the west side, rather than turn around and drive up the portion they just plowed, they cross the street and plow our side. So
This contract is for the whole stretch.
yeah, I'm sorry. The dollar amount here reflects all the township property on the fire station, the Hero Center, and Springer Field are technically one parcel ID number, so it covers the entire sidewalk all the way up to the intersection at Kraus Road.
You didn't write that in your memo, so I had to ask those questions.
Not a problem. I apologize for that.
And clearing the snow is required by township ordinance, and we follow our own ordinance.
Great.
Any other questions? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Did we have a motion?
I thought we had a motion.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Oh, no, I don't. I don't have any initials.
And I think we need a motion. I'll move to authorize the supervisor to execute the winter services agreement for the Hartland Road sidewalk with the Hartland Consolidated Schools not to exceed $4,000.
Support.
Motion by trustee Kalani, second by trustee Harper. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board reports tonight. We start with Treasurer Horning.
Well, the farmers market ended their season last week, and this year we reported the most vendors and the most patrons we've ever had. This was the end of our 15th year already. Time flies. And I just want to congratulate the Hartland Deerfield Fire Department. We were able to attend the open house they had. Was that last Sunday? Time's going by. Last Sunday, and it was amazing. I mean, people of all ages were enjoying themselves at that event. And Adam, I think they had 450 hot dogs gone by 2 o'clock, so it kind of tells you what the attendance was. It was really awesome. And lastly, I'm going to be sending you guys an email tomorrow, and it's really important. There's a House and Senate bill going out. We're in lame duck session. There's only 14 days left up in Lansing. And the proponents and sponsors of these bills both lost their primary, so they're not going to be coming back. So they're trying to get this bill through in lame duck. And everybody cares about the veterans, but as you know, the township has to grant the exemption for their property tax through the Board of Review. It's a lot of work, and the township is losing revenue through it. And I think he sent out an email today, Jim Heslop, to a couple of us. It was over $2 million, wasn't it, in
taxable value.
Taxable value that we're losing right now. And we have 4 more, I think, going to December Board of Review. These bills are to put it on as a property tax exemption for the veterans when they file their state income tax. So if you don't mind, I'm going to send out an email tomorrow so you guys can all get a hold of our reps and ask them to please support this, and let's get it through on lame duck. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Kalani.
I just want to respond a little bit to Mr. Kraus's statements earlier today, and I think that there's a letter that was produced by the township supervisor. I think that should be made public and placed on our website. I think it outlines, which was addressed to Mr. Kraus's organization, which is, I believe, an invitation-only organization. I've yet to hear anything positive come out of Mr. Hartland Business Association. I met with a small group of people that came out of there. I've never witnessed a whole lot sitting on the Planning Commission, anyone from the Hartland Business Association to come there and request any specific things changed in the township ordinance. I will tell you that the Planning Commission, as this board as well knows, Planning Commission works very hard, and we have several groups looking at multiple sections of our zoning ordinance, and has made significant changes over the last, I think, 3 or 4 months, which this board approved, and which we had public hearings. At those public hearings, I never saw one person from the HBA attend those. I can't recall, but they may be right. There may have been someone there, but I don't recall. But at the end of the day, I think this board works very hard with our business community as well as our residents. We have a responsibility to protect the public safety, health, and welfare of this township. And we don't play favorites with organizations. We work with organizations and collaborate with them. Basically, I'm very upset because the same tired claims are being made and falsely to the community through the Hartland Business Association. They have no clue what they're talking about when they talk about Menards and what the issues relative to why Menards came here or why they didn't come here. They have no clue of what why businesses may come or may not come. We have several businesses who have sent, I've seen them on our website, Culvers and Mugs and Bobs and whatever they're called. We've had Imagine come here. I mean, we have a lot of potential progress taking place currently, and I don't know what they observe, their alternate reality. And it may not be all of the members of the Hartland Business Association. It may just be their leadership. And I think this is a call out to those people who are part of our Hartland Business Association. You got to really take a look at who your leaders are. Because I think that the constant complaining and whining about the township and its a relationship with business is false. It's a false reality. I'm willing to work with anybody in this community. And I get tired of it because Mr. Kraus comes here and he complains. I think that this survey, if we took, when was this, by the way?
It's a few years ago.
A few years ago. How many years? I think it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
A lot has changed, and the climate has changed back then. Back then, we were in the midst of a great recession, 2008 recession. There's a lot of things that happened in this township during the 2008 recession. One of them, this township board knew very well that we had a sewer system to pay for, a water system to pay for, and there were developers who came into the township and could not build their homes, did not build their developments. We hired experts to come in to protect the township and the township coffers. We worked very hard at that to get our bond rating from falling so that we could do projects like the road millage, which was passed by the people in this township, to get the positive bond rates and low interest rates to fund those kinds of improvements. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the Hartland Business Association, and I think somebody needs to, they need to think about what they're really all about. Because I can tell you right now, we have looked at those regulations and we've taken up some of the ones that people have complained about. And I know you're recording me, Mr. Kraus, and I'm glad, because guess what? You can actually hear it, it's being recorded, and you can post it. But I'm a little disappointed in this whole thing by the comments. That's my report.
Mr. Kraus, there is no call to the public at this point. Thank you.
It's not a
Just
debate.
correcting the record, those surveys that are recorded on there are 2014 and 2016. So it's not ancient history. And I'll say one thing, that we were invited one time by the chairman to come to one meeting the morning that the hearing was going to be made on changes to the regulations. And that's the only time there's been any invitation to the Hartland Business Association to participate when there was something ongoing in terms of regulations. Only time.
Anything else?
They were public, right? I mean, they were published? And they were published in
they're
the
all
newspaper
public-
and
they're
they're
all
public
public
on
meetings.
our website,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Mr. Germain?
Just one quick thing. There's been another round of sample results received from the ongoing remediation system over on Lone Tree Road, where the Hartland 36 gas plant operated a number of years ago. There's currently an active remediation system cleaning up the groundwater that's been operating for almost 1 year. And the latest round quarterly sampling results shows continued progress. There will be a formal report coming from the responsible parties consultant, which will be submitted to the DEQ, and then they typically forward a copy back to the township. That's been the routine pattern in the past. And if James agrees, we'll put that latest document for the public's viewing again on our website.
Thank you. Trustee Harper?
No report.
Trustee Petrucci?
No report.
Clerk Schofu?
We are still processing absent voters. Just to let everyone know out there, you can still pick up an absentee voter application. You can go to the website to check out, to see the 6 or 7 reasons that you would qualify for an absentee ballot. You can also come into the Township Hall and clerk's office, and we will take care of you there.
Thank you. I have nothing this evening. And anything else for our regular meeting before we go into our
We got to close.
work session?
We got to close session first.
Take a brief recess and we'll go into our work session.
Wait,
Oh,
we got a closed session, I think, before that.
oh, we have to go into, we can't do that afterwards. Got to do that as part of this portion.
It's the next,
As far, if you want to do the closed session after the work session, that's your privilege, whatever the board desires.
Doesn't make any difference. Entertain a motion to go into closed session then.
I'll make a motion that we go into closed session to review the written legal opinion of the township attorney, subject to attorney-client privilege.
Support?
Motion by trustee Harper to go into closed session, second by trustee Germain. Is there any discussion? Being none, clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Fountain?
Yep.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Clerk Jofiu, yes. Trustee Germain?
Yes?
Treasurer Horning?
Yes.
Trustee Petrucci?
Yes.
Trustee Collier?
Yes.
I think that we should allow the students, though, if they want to sign off, because we could be in closed session for an hour and a half.
I think they already got
They
it.
got their sign.
I think
They already signed off? Okay. Unless you want to sit there, that's fine.
So we're going to our other room. Thank you. You're welcome.
Nice to meet you.
So much. Yes.